Hi there, I'm Mirko Bortolotti, Lamborghini factory driver and 2017 Blancpain GT Series champion. Welcome to the career mode of Assetto Corsa Competizione, the official video game of the Blancpain GT Series. You have been granted the access to the Lamborghini Youngster program at the legendary Temple of Speed of Monza, and you will be driving a Lamborghini Hurracan Super Trofeo. This monster is not a plug-and-play experience, so we first need to verify if you really got what it takes for GT racing. You will be asked to perform some simple and very basic tests like driving the car out of the pit lane, avoiding collisions with other drivers, staying within the track limits and bring the car back in one piece. Our race engineers will need to check your radio systems, tire temperatures and brakes, so be careful and remember, racing never starts from being fast, but from being safe and disciplined. After the first installation tests, the team will ask you to prove your skills with performance-focused tests. Be focused, don't overdrive, merge yourself with the car and do your best. The results will affect how good you will start your career, so that maybe some of the best teams will offer you a drive in the next Sprint Cup season. See you on track and good luck.
Thank you Mirko for that introduction to Assetto Corsa Competizione career mode, and welcome back to the channel as we're going to start a new series of episodes going through the career mode in Assetto Corsa. In the first episode we're going to go through the first few tests that you have to do before you actually get into a race seat, and then we're going to go into the first race itself at Zolder.
Green light, give it all you can. Welcome to the Lamborghini Youngster program. Today you are given a seat in the Lamborghini Hurracan Super Trofeo. Our team will look at your best lap on track in dry conditions, complete at least 2 safe and valid laps and then start pushing. Good luck!
As you can see, we're at the Temple of Speed Monza in the Lamborghini Hurracan, and what we have to do in this setup here is to do 2 clean laps and set good clean times. We don't want to cut the corners, we don't want to have any incidents with anyone, we just want 2 clean laps, see where we're at, and then what the game is going to do is it's going to balance out where we think we should be in terms of difficulty. Now if you're new to the Assetto Corsa and you've been watching other games such as Gran Turismo like on my channel, you will notice that the handling on this is very different to what you're used to. In Gran Turismo 7 the car does what you want it to do when you want it to do most of the time. If you downshift, the car will downshift. If you turn, the car will turn. In Assetto Corsa this is very different. You can't downshift at any point during the lap. You have to wait to a certain speed before you can get into a lower gear. If you want to turn as well, you've got to turn a lot earlier than I'm used to in Gran Turismo, and the car does handle differently. You will notice that traction control is on and the ABS is on because I am fully not to grips with the car. And actually, what you want with these cars, they're touring cars, GT3s, they have traction control for a reason, so you've got to use it. And as you can see here, we finished with a 59.330. Pretty decent lap, especially considering I'm just new to the game, and especially the first time I've driven around here. 4th best time. And then what the game asks you to do is continue career, and it's going to ask you to choose your settings that you want to do your career with. Now in terms of difficulty, I've gone for normal. I may change this at some point to hard because I personally find it a little bit on the easier side. And then what we do is we go into the second test, and this second test is done in the wet. It's still at Monza in the same car, but it's all about finding the perfect driving line in the wet and also trying to be consistent. Again, you want to be clean and you don't want to cause any issues, you don't want to crash, just get 2 clean laps in to allow the team to judge where you're at. What you would have noticed there in the pits is the traction control then gets changed to 7 by default by the team. I personally changed it down to 6, I'll probably find that's a little bit better. But looking at this lap, as you can see us going through Ascari, the car is a lot harder to drive in the wet, and especially from any other game that I'm used to. So it's taken me a bit of adapting to do. But going into here, there is a bit of graphics issue which I'm not too keen on, especially when it's raining. But it doesn't detract from the actual game itself. Going into Parabolica, we've got to brake in, get into 2nd gear, get the car turned in before we can get full on the throttle. Once we're down onto 3rd gear, then we get the power out. Head over to the start finish line, and that's going to be a pretty decent time here considering it's wet. And then what the game actually does get you to do, once you've done your 2 laps, we'll go into another lap, which again this one's going to be in the dark, so dry but in the dark. So as we cross the finish line there, we get a gold result here. Gold session medal, best lap 2:05.552, and we're going to move on to the next one. Now when you're driving in the dark, you've got to remember tyre temperatures are going to be a lot cooler because the air temperature is cooler. But the main thing you're going to have to watch out for is looking for your braking points are going to be completely different. You're not going to be able to see them as well, so you've just got to be a little bit more careful and have to guess a little bit almost. But as you can see, the light does light up enough, but it does cut out your peripheral. In the rear view mirror as well, I thought there was some fireworks there, but that's actually the sparks of your car. They actually do show up in your rear view mirror, which is actually pretty insane to look at. And we finished the session with a bronze medal, and I think that's in part because I made a bit of a mistake in one of the corners, ended up the session in the garage, and it just counts you back from there. So you don't get a gold, but you do get a bronze. And once we're done with this is where the fun part actually starts. You get to go in and you get to choose which team you want to drive for in your career. You've got different teams there, and what I decided to do, because I've used a McLaren GT3 wheel on my Fanatec DD Pro, I thought, let's just use the McLaren 650S GT3. It's going to mean that I have the same wheel in the car as I do in real life, so it gives me a bit more immersion. Then what you've got to do is you've got to fill in your details. We've got a teammate 1, which is going to be me, Chunky Ribena, and teammate 2, Slender Ribena. You might get the funny joke in that. And at this point we're ready to start our career mode. We're ready to go on track, and this is the setup for the weekend. You get your Friday practice, you get your Saturday qualifying 1, qualifying 2, and then you've got 2 races to do. Now I would recommend, if you are starting, select the short length, because if you go to medium, each one of those races is going to be 40 minutes long, which is a very long time to do. So I've gone for the short, which gives you 2 20-minute races, which is just about a good amount of time to do. Now with the game as well, you're probably going to have a lot of tracks that you're not familiar with. Like Zolder, I have never driven this track before, so I just used that first practice session to learn the track and not really focus too much on setting the time. The track is a very good one to drive, and I'm going to just skip over so we get into a hot lap and see what a qualifying lap around this amazing track is actually like. As you head onto the home straight, you're just going to keep that power down and get into about 5th gear by the end of the straight. The camera angles are pretty amazing in this. You get into 2nd gear here, try and clip that apex, let the car roll, don't go too far out because the track limits do bite in this game. Once you get here, you've got a sweeping corner. You want to get into 2nd gear, try and use a little bit of that rumble strip, and then coast through this. Try and keep as close to the right as you can into 4th gear, because this corner here you're going to brake, and this is a good opportunity to overtake in the race that you'll probably see at some point. Now in this section here, you've got to go down to the end, and the 100-meter board, you're going to have a really tight chicane. This is very easy to lose the car control here. Get into 2nd gear and just try and get as much of a straight line going into each of those. Now the car does feel the elevation change there. Going into here, you're going to start braking as soon as you get the car straight. Another chicane here, probably easier to do this in 2nd gear. And as you go out, you've got another right hand turn. The Thrustmaster board over there is very distracting, I can tell you that. You've got the sun shining into your face. You're going to see the different amounts on the windscreen. There's a little marker on the right hand side that I've kind of used. I probably will show you guys in another video. Get the car turned in, power out, and you've got another little straight line that you can keep through that corner. It's not really a corner as such. And as you get here, you've got another tight chicane. Get the braking point in, clip that corner there, and again, and then just power through into the start finish straight. A very tight technical circuit. It is absolutely amazing to drive when you hook it up, and especially in this McLaren is actually really good to drive as well. And as we finish qualifying, we go in to look at where we finished. We finished P1, so that means we're going to start pole position in the first race. So you get 2 qualifying sessions. The first qualifying session is for race 1, and qualifying session 2 is for race 2. And as we get to the end of qualifying 2, we were struggling to get a lap in. We were 15th, but as we cross the line, we've got a P1 in there. So it means we're going to start pole position in race 1 and in race 2. As you can see here, we're about ready to start, and you've got different challenges that you can meet. So you get different medals for different things. So finishing the race in the podium, you get a gold medal. Hammer time if you score 100% clean laps. And then you've got the little information here telling you what you need to do. So mandatory pit stop in there, you do have to swap driver. It does that automatically for you on this level. And you've also got to change your tyres. As you can see, the tyres are green and you have to change them. So that's things that you've got to do, and you've got to do that within the pit window that you get. The rolling starts here are brilliant. This is amazing. I do love these. Takes some getting used to, but with the pit limiter on automatically, as I have here at the moment, it just keeps you in that speed limit in first gear. Stay in first gear, and as soon as you cross that start finish line, the car does go. You're free to race at that point. Now everyone else lines up very evenly, and as we get here, you're going to see us roar it. The lights go green, and we're going our first race in Assetto Corsa Competizione. It's go, go, go. We're going to try and pull away and use advantage of that pace. I know I'm quicker than these guys because qualifying time shows it. We were P1 in both races, so I know I've got plenty of time on these guys here. But can I do something in the race? Let's go and find out and see what happens going forward. And in our second lap, we've gained 2.5 seconds, almost 3 seconds on the guys behind. We're nice and comfortable 2 minutes into the race. We get to this tight chicane here, and look what happens. I've just binned it. So we've lost that P1, and now what we've got to do is try and find reverse gear. But the cars, like GT7, do not go, so you can't just reverse out and expect the cars to go through you. You have to actually safely rejoin the race, let everyone through and avoid any contact, because if you do crash, you're going to get car damage, and it's not really worth the risk. But we've dropped from P1 down to P10, and we've got all these cars to get through, so we've got a race on our hands here. We've got to try and make a recovery, and we've got to try and make ground on these positions. So we get down to business, and we get down to this corner. This is a perfect opportunity overtaking spot. Get down in the inside into first gear, nice and easy, and away we go. So we go chasing after Gachet now. We get to this corner here, another good overtaking spot. Get the power down, get the run on Gachet, stick to one side. The AI does try and squeeze you, but then realises you're there. You've got that radar up there, which is in a really good position. Get down to this corner where we've pinned it before. Nice and easy on the brakes, almost crashing into the meadows up ahead, but we're through, and that's another position. That's P8. Going down through this corner again, and again this is a good overtaking spot past meadows, and we're going to chase down Leonard now before we get our pit stop, which is due to come up at any point now, which is probably around a couple of minutes from now. But going through Leonard again, same position. We waited a couple of laps on that. Take down on the inside. They do realise you're there. Nice and deep on the brakes, first gear, hug that corner, and that's it. We're up into P6 already, so we're gaining the positions, and we're only 1.4 seconds here behind the guy ahead. And at this point you realise that the pit window is now open, so at this point you've got 5 minutes to make your pit stop and change your driver, change your tyres and all of that good stuff. So we're going to try and chase and get the pressure on, try and get as close as we can before that pit stop, so we can get a good opportunity. As you can see, lap 6 here, we go deep into this chicane, make a bit of a mess out of it, and then as we're going around here, we're going to make another mess out of it. We go very wide, go almost into that wall, manage to collect the car, but we're going to lose time to the guys behind, and we've lost a hell of a lot of time to the guys up in front. So at this point we decided we're going to need to make our pit stop, get it out of the way. We could have got another lap, but there's no point. Get our pit stop done, get the pit limiter. And what you're going to see here is me making a massive mistake, and this is where I got really annoyed by making that mistake. I shouldn't have made it. And as you can see here, I'm scrolling down, looking at tyres for some reason, and I'm going to untick that box. That means I'm not going to change tyres, which tyre change is mandatory, and it's gone orange as well. And now I'm looking for my pit box, trying to get a nice easy run, but someone stops just in front, and look at this. This is the tightest of entries into our pit box. I can't get the car in, it doesn't turn off the engine. I'm going to have to drive forward and then reverse back into the spot, which is no easy feat. And then once you get there, I'm not in the right position, so the engine turns off, and then what it's going to do is going to move the car into the right position. So I've now made the pit stop to change driver, but I'm not going to change my tyres, which means I'm going to have to stop again. We still went out back on track to try and see if a miracle happens, if we can get some positions before we pit again and get those tyres changed, but that wasn't going to be the case or needed, because as I go in here into turn 1, I go massively wide, go into the gravel, and at this point there's only one thing in my mind. There's no point finishing, we're going to finish dead last anyway. Knock the Pirelli sign over and return to the garage to retire the car from race 1. So a pole position is ended in a retirement in race 1 here at Zolder, and it's not a really good start to the season, is it? But with race 1 being done, we've got another chance. We've got race 2 coming up, We also started in pole position on that one, and just moved it a couple of minutes forward because there's not much really happened. We pulled away, and as you can see here, we made another mistake. We've gone onto the gravel there. We've got the green Lamborghini coming in, trying to get a move on us. We go over the curb and we've lost it again. 2 minutes into a race at the same spot. We do a few pirouettes here, not great, and then we've literally got to try and get the car under control firstly, because the yellow flags are going all over the place, and then try and get a clean rejoin, not crashed into one. But we've dropped down to P15, and we've now got the whole race to try and get back ahead and gain some sort of decency or respectful position. We're going to go here and move on McLeod, and we're through. That's P14, so good start. We're looking left, there's no one there, he's well behind in our mirror, and we're going to go down to our famous corner. Nothing really much happened here, but then when we get to this chicane here, we got 3 cars fighting for position, and we've got to try and take it easy because it's very easy to knock into the back of it. And we've got Robert Friends, another nice driver. He's a really good driver, this guy in real life. I believe he's in Formula E now. Really good driver, but no match for us as we go down the inside, and we get a double move. We get Bassin as well, and we're up into P13 with 5 minutes into the race. So we dropped down into 15th, but we're now P12 now. We've got Perel here in the Ferrari. It looks like a Ferrari from where I'm sitting, and it is definitely a Ferrari because the yellow sign is saying Ferrari. Go into the corner. We're in the inside, and we get the move. That's done into 11th place now. So that's another position gained. As we go down here, we've got Haas just in front. What we're going to do? Yep, move in on the inside, first gear, and we're into P10. So we're now in the points playing position. I believe we need to get points in this. But once we're there, we drop to 11th because we're going into the pits, and we're going to try and avoid the mistake we made before. Everything's saying valid, and we're not going to touch a single thing here. We're right behind the King Power Ferrari, and we're going to just try and get to our pit spot. You can't really see what's ahead, so I'm trying to jink left and right to try and get an idea of where cars are. I see cars peeling in, but I think our pit box is at the very end of the pit lane. Indeed it is. We've got 3 cars there, and we've got someone that's parked in front of us, so that thing again, but it's the guy in the pit box behind them, so it gives us a nice easier run, but it still doesn't stop in the right place. It takes a bit of time to stop the engine, move the car forward, and we're going to see by the end of the time we get out here, we've lost a bit of ground with that King Power Ferrari. They've moved well ahead. They're 4.5 seconds ahead of us, but we've got to try and get up to them. We catch up with them eventually with 9 minutes to go. The pit window's still open, so for another minute. We don't need to worry about that anymore. And we go for the move into turn 1, and we get that move done into turn 1. So we're up to P13 again. There's someone coming out of the pits, it's Gachet, and we're going to get through up to them towards the end of the lap. We're going to make that move again. That's probably our trademark move. We should get a trademark on that into P9. So we're climbing nicely the positions as we get through the race. 6 minutes to go. We got Hezemans here, and we make that move again. So this is the chunky Ribena corner for overtaking moves, and we've got Van Tour ahead of us in P7. And as we're going into this corner, we're going to go nice and easy. Try and just not make any mistakes. That's what we need. We don't need any mistakes here. As we go into this position, we're going to try and get a nice run out of it, but we got a bit too crazy into it. We lose control, the rear slides out, and we're in the wall. So we're in the kitty litter again, dropping down to P10, and it's not as easy as some games to get out of this. But we've got to try and get out and try and salvage something, but we've got another clean rejoin that we need to make. We're down to 12, 13, so Manchester's gone, Leonard's gone through as well, and we've dropped back to pretty much where we were at the beginning of the race after we made that initial mistake. But we're going to try and still get back into some sort of respectful position again. Going to this corner, we've got Leonard here. They're getting a very slow exit because these guys are fighting with Manchester and with Salicom over here. But we get the move done, we're up a position, and are we going to try and get Manchester done into this corner here as well? Very late on the brakes, and we do. We get them again. So I mean, the amount of overtakes we can do into that corner, just a shame we didn't have to make any overtakes in this race. Go in here, we've got Salicom, we're going to try and have a little look, but go into the corner, get over that one. They're very slow out of that corner. It catches me out, and we've made another mistake. So 2.5 minutes to go, just a little bit more than that, and we've received another safety warning for collision with another car. So that race, which was so promising again, started off so well in both races, both P1s, and there's not much we can do when we make silly mistakes like that, is there? You know, call us Mazespin if you want, but we'll still try and get to the end. And as we go here, 3 seconds to go, 1 second, and as that clock hits 0, it's time for us to go for another spin. Yeah, that's Assetto Corsa for you. It's a very hard game to get used to. The physics of the game are a lot more intense. The feeding through the wheel is a lot more intense as well, but it's a lot of good fun. And I'm glad that you guys have joined in. As you can get to the end, you see the celebration. Someone's won the race. I don't care who it is, but we're going to try and finish that finish line just for a bit of pride, really. But yeah, that's the first race of the season, episode 1 at Zolder. We're going to get episode 2 at some point in the next couple of weeks. So if you did like that and you want to see me improve and get better at Assetto Corsa, please do hit that like button, subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and so you're notified when the next video comes out. And I will see you on the next one. See you later.